Hello, and welcome to my TED Talk. Handwriting, something we likely all overlook. In the United States, 41 out of the 50 states do not require extensive penmanship in the curriculum. Is there more than what meets the eye? Writing has been around for centuries and has been improving from shapes and hieroglyphics to beautiful calligraphy and is used in anything from legal to religious documents. Penmanship accounts for all mediums of handwritten text. Handwriting is considered a dying art, but should we let it die? In elementary school, I wondered how my teachers could tell who a no-name paper actually belonged to. They did this through analyzing small characteristics in their writing, such as how they loop their O's or how little space there is between their words. This is called graphology, or the study of handwriting and its characteristics. But what does this actually mean? Everyone's handwriting is different. No two people's writing are the same. It's like a fingerprint. In How to Spot a Leader in Their Writing, a correlation was made between certain leaders and their characteristics in their writing. For example, Steve Jobs and Nelson Mandela would cross their T's from the right to the left, representing highly achievable long-term goals. In the first letter of a signature, he could discover if a person was confident, like Oprah Winfrey, who has a large, well-defined O showing her confidence. Loops directed upward correspond to abstract thinking, whereas lower loops show creative problem solving. He encouraged us to try this and find out for ourselves in our own writing. And every one of the characteristics he told us to look for, I found very accurate. Based off of graphology, he urged the audience to explore their writing, try new things, embrace creativity, and put their best foot forward as a leader. The hopes that the experiment would create different writing styles and help the person just become more creative. Graphology is used beyond the classroom and in leadership characteristics. It is used in forensics. They are able to find who a killer was, who the kidnapper was, just by their note that they wrote, and different writing samples and characteristics just based off of their writing. The book that I read told a story about a killer they had found out who he was through a matching sample, and he had a double loop in his O, which correlated to a lying characteristic. Since the beginning of the project, I've been able to find these characteristics in my own writing and many of my friends, and it's been really interesting to just see how accurate they are or how inaccurate they are. You may be asking, why is writing even important? We live in an age of technology. Well, but writing is so much more than words on a paper. In the recent years, technology has been growing and taking priority over traditional pen and paper assignments just because it is sheerly easier. But writing is considered one of the four main components of establishing literacy and a strong understanding of the language. The English department at a university conducted research over how important handwriting actually is in education, which was highlighted in Handwriting, a Matter of Affairs. Because of increased finger movement, the brain is more likely to remember things that are handwritten rather than typed out. Personally, I can attest to this theory because it is so much harder for me to memorize something or learn something if I type it rather than write it. And writing is important in establishing a higher literacy in a language because it can help differentiate characteristics of the language and correlate to letters and symbols. Like if you're trying to learn Chinese, then you would need to write things out because the English language is very set, where theirs is very there. Languages also rely heavily on culture, which handwriting can have a big impact on that as well. Studies have shown that writing in cursive and in blue ink can help a person remember things due to the movement of the brain and the cool color of the blue. I've actually applied this to my own study habits, and my test scores and grades have improved. Cursive and lettering encourages abstract thought because the brain is more receptive to tactile movements. In schools, lettering and handwriting should be taught, and more specifically cursive. Many believe that cursive, once it's been mastered, it can be written much faster than normal print. And I agree with this because, yeah, it's just so much easier. In today's time, many kids struggle with learning disorders such as dyslexia, which can lead to poor academic performance due to the traditional method of writing and teaching writing. Letters such as B and D and P and Q, which are the most commonly confused and flipped letters in the English language, they get really confused and jumbled up in print. But in cursive, they look very different, and many other languages have started teaching their students cursive rather than print first to eliminate this issue. Kids that have fine motor issues, it's more difficult for them to write in print because they have to pick their pencil up rather than cursive, which I originally thought that would be the opposite way. And then many argue that cursive there's no point for it, but it encourages you to think outside of the box and just get outside of your comfort zone because it's different. I originally started writing in cursive because I didn't want people to cheat off of me, and because of that, I've gotten a lot more outgoing, it seems like, and I think that's a correlation, but also print writing, people at the SAT, they did a study that people that write in cursive tended to score higher because it allows for more complex thoughts. And I just argue that script should be encouraged and taught in not only early education classrooms, but in all levels of learning. Just because it's different and it helps people get more creative. It allows for complex thought. But in my scholastic career, I was taught typical manuscript once or twice. It was a weird school. And then I've been taught cursive. I taught myself once, and then it's been taught to me 3 different times, 3 different people, 3 different districts. They all teach it differently. At the time, I thought it was really stupid to kind of relearn it, but I honestly think it's made me who I am today. And I love writing, and I've fell in love with it even more over the past year, but it's just been fun to see how everything correlates.